Let's get it going, Rob, and let's start. You mentioned it. You wrote a strong column on Deadspin about how, of course, by now most people know, certainly all basketball fans, that the NBA players, most of them, will have a social justice slogan or word on the back of their jerseys instead of their last names, if they want. And big names are saying that they're not going to have the slogan on the back. Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, I believe, just said he was not going to do it as well. And the biggest of them all, though, the face of the league, LeBron James, who has been, his social justice resume is strong. It's stronger than anybody in the league right now. And but he has decided he is not going to have a slogan. He's going to have his last name on his jersey, and we'll get into all that. And that's what you, Rob, you wrote a strong column about that. But first, let's hear from Charles Barkley, friend of the show. He commented on CNBC on Friday about the notion of the slogans, the phrases, the Black Lives Matter on the court, and so on and so forth.
Obviously, we need police reform and prison reform, but the media, we all got a job to do, and they're going to spend all their time on what's on somebody's jersey and what's on the buses and who's kneeling and who's not kneeling, and that's going to defeat the purpose. My concern is this turning this thing into a circus instead of trying to do some good stuff.
All right, Rob, since you wrote the column, you want to take the first stab at this?
Yeah, my whole thing was, Chris, obviously, and I said that there, you could debate, because we talked about it on the show last week, about whether or not the NBA just should have allowed people to say whatever they wanted to say, right, rather than a or words or whatever. What's that?
We lost you for a second.
You got me?
Yeah, everything good over there?
Okay.
We got you now, but it dropped for about 3 seconds.
Okay, I was saying, the league approved 29 words or phrases, Chris, for to go on the back of your jersey.
Right.
And I thought LeBron missed what I would call a bunny or a layup. LeBron said nothing really registered with him. I don't know. I got the feeling that because he wasn't consulted about this, that maybe kind of turned his nose up to it, soured a little bit. I'm not surprised that Anthony Davis followed suit. Whatever LeBron does, seems like Anthony Davis will do. So he's not his own guy, or at least it doesn't seem like that. Well, I'm just saying that's what it seems like.
Nah, I know what you're saying.
And in LeBron's case, I thought he missed an opportunity, Chris, because LeBron started like a voting organization to try to get people to register to vote and to vote. So I thought,
which is great.
I'm giving him credit, him and some high-profile other athletes and entertainers. Yep. And, Chris, he could have put vote. If you looked at the picture that they photoshopped on Deadspin, it had vote on the back of LeBron's jersey. And I thought that would be great. People could look at that. Hey, LeBron has vote. Do you know about his new organization, about registering to vote, and all kinds of stuff like that? And this way, it's still it still will have an impact on the masses. But when the biggest guy in the league and the guy who commands the most attention poo-poos the whole notion of it and doesn't follow suit, it takes away from the whole thing. It'll be like, how come LeBron didn't do it? Oh, this is corny. Oh, this doesn't mean anything. Oh, so to me, it kind of hurt the whole process that the NBA was trying to do, and I thought he missed an opportunity just to get the word out about voting. And I thought that was the one thing, Chris, if nothing else, that to me, because of the organization he started, that could have worked in his favor. I was surprised he didn't put vote on the back of his.
I have to admit, and I was on Undisputed this morning with Skip and Shannon, and I'll certainly give the viewpoint that I shared on that this morning. But I will say you make a good point. I don't think that the 29 options that the players were given, first of all, I don't like that the players were given options. Like, this is supposed to be being done in the spirit of protest.
Right, and
making a
your own
statement,
expression,
right?
to your own expression, right?
And
Freedom of
when
expression.
the powers that be tell you what what 29 slogans you can use, that kind of flies in the face of the spirit of protest. So I don't like that. I think, Robin, and we talked about it, I think what they should have done is the Players Association, and who was involved, from what I'm told, in these, 29 words and slogans that they chose. But the Players Association and the league should have said, look, guys, we need your slogan, your phrase, your word that you're going to have on the back of your jersey by July 16th, whatever date they would have given them, because we have to get it put on your jerseys. And so that's your deadline. No profanity, no curse words, anything like that. But send it in by the 16th, and then you vet it that way. And if anything is untoward and just isn't, you just can't have on a jersey, then you can tell that player, look, you got to get a new one quickly too, or go with your last name. But I think that's how they should have done it. And I salute Jaylen Brown and Mike Scott, who are players that came out. And to be honest, Rob, LeBron seemed to feel this way, because if you look at his statement, what he said was, I did have a few, things I had thought about. I had some ideas that I wanted to put on the back of the jersey, and I think he was a bit turned off. I think in part because of what you and I have said, that, hey, why are you limiting what guys can say? And I think, Rob, and again, but I will say this, vote. You make a good point. I disagree. Like, I'm fine with LeBron not doing it.
Right.
But you do make a good point. I mean, there's no doubt that, especially with him starting the voting program, which is
that
spectacular,
it works for him, right?
That
It's
it would
up
have
his
worked
alley.
for him, right? I think generally, obviously we all know to vote. Everybody's going to be telling everybody to vote. These black celebrities and entertainers and athletes, they're going to be telling people to vote. But it would have jibed right with what his campaign is. So I think that's a good point that you make. But I just feel like the point of having the names on the back of the jerseys, it should be to spark a conversation or be thought-provoking. So like you said, if you have something really thought-provoking on the back of the jersey, the journalists are going to have to ask you about it. Like I said last week, I think they should have had reparations, or reparations now, or Black Wall Street, or HBCU, something where a journalist is going to say, why'd you have HBCU on the back of your jersey? And then you can talk about it and use your platform and maybe even spark a discussion about it, in the public. But where I think most of the slogans, justice, equality, respect me, love me, I think is even one, things like that. Vote generally, but like I said, it would have fit LeBron. I just think most of them are pretty innocuous. And so I get it if that's why LeBron didn't do it. I fully understand it. But I do expect him to still use the platform to speak out on issues, including the vote.
Yep. No, I think that there will be that. It just seemed like it would have been easy with everybody watching him. It would have just fit. I thought that wouldn't have been a stretch for LeBron. He wouldn't have been going off his brand, Chris, right? He wouldn't have been doing something wacky and strange, and people go, what? What does LeBron have on there? I think that it worked, and I'm just surprised that he didn't do it. But it'll be interesting to hear what people have to say.
Well, it's also surprising, Rob, quickly, that LeBron wasn't consulted. That is bizarre. Like, I'm shocked. And I know
that's part of why his panties are in a bunch.
Maybe. I don't like the idea, Rob. And I think the league means well. And I think it's any players that put anything on their jersey, I'm fine with it. But it just seems too, the powers that be are giving you permission. And one thing about LeBron, he doesn't like being dictated to. I'm not saying he won't ever, buy into what authority's saying, but he doesn't like being dictated to. And I think this kind of felt like, really? You're giving us permission, limiting us to this. So, but who knows? I'm not in his head. You might be right. But it is surprising he didn't have any say in that, because I know the Players Association did. But anyway, your turn to weigh in. 877-99 on Fox. 877-996-6369. Did LeBron make a mistake when he decided not to wear a social justice message on the back of his jersey?
All right, let's start with Clarence in D.C. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Clarence?
Clarence?
Hey,
Clarence. Good.
Yeah.
What's up?
All right. I don't agree. I understand where you're coming from, Rod, but I disagree. I think that if LeBron had a problem with the process, no matter what names that he was given, he should have stood his ground and not put any on the back of his jersey if he had a problem with the process. Even his vote is a good one, but like I said, I agree with Chris that they should have been given their own thoughts, and whatever they put on there had to be obviously agreed upon once they submitted them. But I don't like the fact that they was given limited things. Then once again, you're still controlling the narrative. You know what I'm saying? The narrative is not your own. If I had only 29 to a multiple choice to which name. Like I said, vote would have been a good one, but if LeBron had a problem with the process, I think he did the right thing.
Only because LeBron's involved in the voting.
I agree with you, bro. I understand. I'm just saying. I totally agree with everything you said, but I'm just saying, then you give into the process if you put that on there. I'm just saying.
What would you put on your jersey if you were a player? You have anything?
I hadn't thought of anything, but you probably vote if I was LeBron. I think even though vote is a great one, but because of the process, I think you have to go against it. I think you have to
all right, Clarence. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Call.
GW in Cincinnati in the Natty. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
What's going on, fellas? Best sports talk show in the nation.
Man,
Thank
you,
GW.
how you doing, man?
Appreciate that.
GW,
Good,
I was
man.
supposed to come to Cincinnati this summer and hang out with my buddies who work at the Inquirer. And Montgomery Inn for some ribs, and we're gonna go to a Reds game, and I guess it's gonna be next summer.
Well, you know, Rob, I've said it before, man. We haven't had a black sports columnist in the city since you left. That was what, 30-some years ago?
When did you leave, Rob?
I left in 1993. I was in 1993.
I graduated in 1986, and I remember reading
That
it.
is shameful.
That's when we had the Post and the Inquirer.
Right, there was two papers, yeah. And
That's
I was
27 years.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Come on, that's ridiculous.
That tells you how old I am or how old you are, Rob.
Folks. That's crazy.
I'm old.
All right,
hey, let me say this, guys. I think you both make great points, but and if I had a choice, Chris, I love what you said about HBCU. I went to Kentucky State University and University of Cincinnati, so I would love HBCU. Rob, I agree with you. I thought vote on LeBron's jersey would have been good. But let me say this. I don't have a problem with the NBA and the Players Association having, 30 names. And I say it for this point. This morning, I'm listening to the Baghdad Bob of COVID-19, Clay Travis, this morning, and he's talking about the NBA were going to let the players have F the police on the back of it. And that was never going to happen. So there had to be a line, Chris, where we said 30, 40 is enough.
He said that they were going to say F the police. They were going to allow that.
On.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Right. And look, did a player potentially, is it possible a player wanted to submit that? I guess.
But that would never fly.
Say, look, no profanity.
But I don't even think a player would have tried to submit that, Chris. I think they know that, hey, we can't go that far. But I don't know, but I mean, 30 names, 40 names, guys. I'm kind of with it. But, what's that old saying, one monkey don't stop this train? This movement is way beyond names or even murals and Black Lives Matter painted in front of Trump Tower. And I think they're going to keep that momentum. And the fact that LeBron has the whole voting initiative and bringing all the other stars, he's going to continue to be in the front light. I mean,
no doubt.
Powerful and politically powerful athlete in all the sports, not just the NBA.
Yeah,
right.
AGW, thanks.
Right.
How about Max in Georgia? Max, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
Talk to you guys this week.
What's
up, brother? How are you?
Oh, man, I'm good. I got to get on this LeBron subject. So I got a problem. So here's my thing. You can't have it both ways. You can't be more than an athlete and then miss out on the opportunity to really speak out on this. Now, having said that, if he forgoes the opportunity, I would like to see him put something else on his jersey. I don't care what his message is.
But like what? But I don't think he can.
Yeah, you can't.
Well,
because it had to be right. It was a deadline.
He can pay the fine. He can have his sponsors pay the fine.
Well, first of all, he doesn't make the jerseys. What's he gonna do? Sew something on in his hotel room?
He's got a sewing kit.
LeBron is a resourceful guy. LeBron's a resourceful guy.
But
what would you put, Max? What would you want in the back?
Yeah, what would you put if you were playing?
Here's my biggest thing. Like, I think as much as people want to say about, like, maybe defunding the police, I think it's more about reforming, and I think everybody
which is actually what, and I don't like the term defund the police, but when you when you really find out what they mean, which is reallocate some of the funds, right?
Right.
Take some of the funds to the police, and they're doing it in New York,
in Los Angeles.
Right. Yeah, and give it to other, programs. That makes sense. But when I'm telling you, when I first heard defund the police, I was like, are you crazy? Like, no, we need police. We don't need bad ones,
just
but
need
we need
good
police.
ones, right?
Right.
Hey,
but we can't
Chris.
defund. But reallocate is what people should be saying, because for the average person, they don't know what you're talking about when you say defund. But go
Chris,
ahead.
This could be another selfish moment. He could easily be having his moment of, I'm going to cry and take my ball at home and go home. But the problem is he's so thirsty for this title, he can't go home.
That's
well,
true.
Look, I'll say this, Max, and we'll see what is accurate, once things get moving. The fact that he had the more than an athlete hat on during the interview, the fact that he said, I'm going to keep talking, speaking out down in Orlando, it leads me to believe he will continue to address issues when appropriate. As long as he's doing that, I'm fine. If he goes down there and doesn't want to talk about anything, if something comes up, you know what I mean, and he's no comment, then that's one thing. But I fully still expect LeBron to speak out.